Hey, everybody, how you doing? Yep, that one got away from him. Welcome to PHLY Flyers Postgame, presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. My name is Bill Matz. This is Philadelphia's #1 hockey beat writer, Charlie O'Connor. Honestly, Charlie, as soon as I saw Max Talbot, I knew this was scripted. Obviously, this was fake. Once again, the league fixing it for the... We're not going to do that tonight. Flyers lose 5-4 in overtime. They blow a 3-0 lead and a huge game for Matvei Michkov.
Lots of breakdown about Matvei Michkov's game.
Yes.
Twitter was in an uproar.
They are, and that's one of the first things. I have a lot to say about Torts. We're going to get to him and his handling of the bench in a little bit. But first, just, you're not there. You are here. But you've been covering John Tortorella for quite some time now, Charlie. This game became, minus the violence, reminiscent of an old-style Penguins-Flyers game. Like a whole bunch of goals, a big lead erased, swings of momentum, all that stuff, exchanging chances, kind of got loosey-goosey. What do you think John Tortorella's saying about the way this game was played, like especially in the final 30?
Well, it could go either way because my assumption is that he's going to be really mad about this game. He should be. The Flyers completely fell apart in the second half of this game, and they did it in ways that you would think would anger John Tortorella. Their defensive play completely fell off. They weren't marking guys. They were giving them way too much space on entry. They were not checking well at all. I'm still unclear why they didn't really defend Garnet Hathaway on that hit. That was very un-Flyers. Like, so to me, there are a lot of reasons for John Tortorella to be very angry at this team after this game. That said, this season, games where I think John Tortorella is gonna come out and be ticked off, he ends up being like, oh, well, they did such a good job and they tried hard. And then games where I expect him to be happy, he delivers a 2.5-minute press conference with one-word answers. So I don't know. He should be mad at them after this game because they had it. They were running away with this game, and then dumb mistakes, bad defense, and just a general lack of focus buried them in this game.
Yeah, and like on one hand, I'm looking at it, and Malkin, 2 goals, 2 assists. Carlson, 2 goals and an assist. Letang and Crosby, 1 assist each. 9 points for the big 4. And in years gone by, you'd just be like, wow, what are you going to do? It's 4 Hall of Famers I just named. Like, yeah, they went off. But this wasn't, it didn't, maybe Malkin, but it didn't feel as if like, oh, these guys just took over and what are you going to do? It felt very much, at least watching it in real time, like it was just kind of Flyers mistakes allowing it to happen more than them like forcing the issue. Like, yeah, man, they have 4 Hall of Famers and we have like one guy who just turned 20 that we're hoping can be that in 20 years, you know? Of course we lost, but that's not how it played out if you watched it. Like, look at the box score. Yeah, man, those guys went off, but I don't know. Bad taste in my mouth from this game. And listen, a lot of people are like, hey, man, you know, you lost to a team that's right there with you in the standings. At 3-point game, it's not exactly you lost in regulation.
Yeah, if you would have lost in regulation, you could have made a much better case for this being a positive tank
game with Michkov's performance, and then, yeah, man, you lose. But you get a point anyway out of it, and it's like, this is the definition of loser point. Like, this is a participation trophy point that they should not be proud for picking up because they had a 3-0 lead. Of course they did on Max Talbot night, bobblehead night. Come on, bro. You're a Flyer, too. But I guess
he's not.
He's like a folk hero.
He's never going to be a Flyer.
Ever.
No.
Definitely not now.
They tried to co-opt Max Talbot. That was a fool's errand.
They tried to co-opt
They did. They tried to co-opt him. That was the Flyers of the end period Ed Snyder era tried to do that a lot. They tried to do it with Jody Shelley. They tried to do it with Max Talbot. That was one of the things that Paul Holmgren liked to do. It's like, oh, that guy that did that cool thing against us once, yeah, let's get him. Holmgren loved to do that, and it never really worked out.
I'm just disappointed in the way this game ended because
it's against the Penguins.
Yeah.
If this happens against the Blue Jackets or something, whatever, Flyers, you know, maybe it helps them in their efforts to get a higher pick, to get that potential 1C that we all agree they need. For it to happen against the Penguins in Pittsburgh, you have the opportunity to just, embarrass this team a second straight time. And that's the way this game looked like it was going.
It certainly did.
For the first 27-ish minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just let their foot off the gas against the Penguins.
And maybe you can look at Nedeljkovic getting pulled and freaking out, kind of waking them up. Because to the Penguins' credit, on Tuesday, they rolled over and died.
They did.
And even their beat reporters were going, after the weekend they just had where they came away with nothing and played way better than the result, now they're just kind of, they look like a defeated team. Penguins didn't roll over and die tonight. Obviously, they erased a 3-0 lead, a 4-3 lead. They win in overtime. I guess tip your cap, whatever. But it does just feel like, man, you had this. And to do it against them it's disappointing to me. That's all. But not everything has to be disappointing, Charlie, because sometimes you have to take a step back and say the future is bright. And I will say the future does seem bright after a little bit of what we saw from Matvei Michkov tonight. Future is Bright is presented by Shady Rays. PHLY viewers and listeners, go to shadyrays.com and save 35% off polarized sunglasses with code PHLY. Over 300,000 people have rated Shady Rays 5 stars, so use code PHLY today at shadyrays.com and become the next of the hundreds of thousands of people. Matvei Michkov, 2 goals and an assist. And he does that with more than half the game left, Charlie. He's now, he scores his 18th and 19th goals of the season. Where there are now 22 games left this
22
year.
Now.
So he's at 19 goals with 22 games remaining. And I just took a look at the list of Flyers rookies who have had 20-plus goal seasons. And it is a pretty damn good list. Players who were difference makers for the most part their entire career. You start with Lindros and Renberg, 41 and 38. That's dope. Brian Propp there with 34. Flockhart, 33. Barber, 30. And then that's it in terms of totals I don't think Matvei Michkov can reach. Matt Reed and Lacroix, 24 there. I think that's reachable. I think he could easily get to 25 this season, and that puts him behind, put him 6th all-time for the Flyers in terms of rookie goal scoring. That is a pretty damn good list to be on, I would say. So the future does remain bright with Matvei Michkov, and we'll talk plenty more about him the rest of this show.
Do you want to talk about him now?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that is a big storyline from this game. Because so first, let's say 30 to 40 minutes of this game, it's all about how good of a game Michkov is having.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's on hat trick watch again, picks up the secondary on that early goal, which was kind of a cheapie, but whatever. Getting him points, contending for the Calder. But, and I think that there's a fair point to be made here, he wasn't getting a ton of ice time. The ice time was low. The ice time was low through 2 periods, to be sure. Tortorella was very clearly using the Couturier, Tippett, Michkov line as his third line. He was using Cates as the matchup line, and then he was using Konecny because I guess he just wanted to get that Konecny line going as the second line. Michkov is down there, pretty low in the time on ice charts. So that's what's going on. There's a lot of frustration I see bubbling on social media. Understandably so. He's rolling. Third period, there's a play with about 5 minutes left in the third. Game's tied. It's 4-4. Michkov tries to cut off an attempted move up ice by the Penguins. There's already 2 Flyers forwards, the other 2 guys in the line, deep in the offensive zone because it's in the offensive zone. He misses it. The Penguins get a 3-on-2 rush going the other way. The Couturier line with Michkov on it does not see the ice the rest of the third period. So regulation ends, and I'm thinking man, this is fair for fans to be very angry that Michkov isn't getting ice time. They benched that line after Michkov is one of the best, if not the most dangerous offensive player on the ice. He's getting minimal ice time. So Tortorella throws him out there for the 3-on-3. And then Michkov very glaringly blows the coverage on the game-winning goal. He completely loses track.
After the shot, he loses.
Completely loses track of Malkin. That should not be a 2-on-1. It's a 2-on-1. Malkin scores the game-winning goal. Now, I'm not saying that this absolves Tortorella for the low ice time. And hey, maybe the fact that he was getting minimal ice time, maybe that contributed to the mental error that Michkov makes in overtime. But it's frustrating because it's like I wanted to go into this post game being like, yeah, you should have given Michkov more ice time. What are you doing, Torts? And then Michkov blows the coverage on the game-winning goal in overtime.
But that's the problem with that theory to me, Charlie, is you see the numbers there. 4 shots, 3 points, 2 of them goals. This kid is on fire, putting the puck in the net, creating scoring chances. Through regulation, only the fourth line, including Hathaway, who played like 6 minutes because he left with an injury.
Yeah.
Only they played less amongst the forwards. Mickhkov got 13 minutes and 17 seconds. Coots got 14:02. Tippett had 14:03. We're talking about a line that has been scoring nonstop since the break. I don't know. Once this game is a 1-goal game, once it's tied, you need the guys who can score goals on the ice. And that's what Mickhkov's going to pass Travis Konecny for the team leading goals like next week. Like Konecny has 2 goals in the second half of the season. I don't know why we're trying to get him going when there's a guy going that you don't want to play, that if you are actually trying to win every game, which is what you tell us all the time, it's why we're not tanking. God forbid we try to get a pick that can match Mickhkov. So maybe if he makes a mistake, we can put another good player on the ice in his place. No, we have to try to win every game, but not all the way. To me, this is a coach loss. Put the guy out there who can score, and he scores. He has a hat trick tonight. He's going, and you go, nah, I ain't going to play him. 13 minutes is an embarrassment. I like John Tortorella a lot. He lost them the game tonight.
See, the reason why I'm not willing to go that far is because then Michkov is the guy who blows the coverage on the game-winning goal. So, like, I can't be as critical of it as I would have been had Tortorella's clear concern about Michkov's potential to mess up in key situations in a tight game then didn't later play out where he messed up in the situation and lost in the game.
All right. Let's play this game then. He makes that mistake in the first period, but then has 3 points. Mm-hmm. It's absolved. So it's bullshit. Like, it doesn't matter.
Is it bullshit? Would you be this forgiving of anyone else on the team other than Michkov for that mistake in overtime?
Everyone else on the team isn't as good as him.
Well, okay.
That's the problem.
Okay.
Like, there's no one you're going to put out there who can do what he does. We're going to put Kuzmenko out there, this defensive stalwart?
Well, no.
Like,
you're asking me. I mean, you could have put anybody out there. You didn't have to put Kuzmenko out there.
Bobby Brink,
he's the one who blew.
Had a terrible play.
In my opinion, Brink is the guy who turns this game with that bad play. My point is that if you're going to get angry at Torts for benching him, then you also should get angry for Michkov at blowing the play that leads to the game winner.
Sure, absolutely. He needs to make that play. Also, I'm not going to blame the guy who scored 3 of their 4 points. Like, I don't know, someone else make a play. Okay. Someone else do it. That's like blaming Danny Briere for defense in the playoffs. Like, no, that's the other 4 guys' job. He's out there to score.
And what I'm saying is that if the guy's name was anything other than Matvei Michkov, you would be criticizing him rightfully for that play.
Because that player probably has no chance to score, Charlie.
Well, he might. If they put out a player who has a chance to score. They have other guys on the team that can score.
I mean, he has more goals than everyone but Konecny, and he's going to pass him.
Well, it's not an either or. There are guys that aren't as good at goal scoring as Michkov, but still can score goals.
John Tortorella is the safe as death, no risk it, no biscuit guy. True. Is that just a mantra? Is that just something you say because it sounds nice? Or do you believe it? Because this tells me he doesn't actually believe it. Because when you take a risk and make a mistake, you sit. I don't know, man. The guy who scored a couple of goals and has been on fire for the last 3 games, I'd probably play him more because he's going to score again. Because he's been doing nothing but scoring.
All I'm saying is that he sits him out of concern that he's going to make a mistake. Then he puts him out there and he makes the mistake that he was concerned that he was going to make. It's
and if he hits the net with the daylight he has, the game ends.
When you make that mistake, you are inherently explaining why he's doing this in the first place.
So
just what I'm saying is, Michkov, don't make mistakes. Like, don't make these dumb plays, and then you won't get benched.
That's just an asinine thing to ask a 20-year-old rookie to do.
Okay.
Like, if it's not the wrong call if Michkov hits the net with the shot he takes in overtime because he had daylight on the post.
Yeah.
So it's the right call because something happened after that. Like, to me, it's
tough shit.
Yeah, to me, that's not how you
play.
Like, to me, that's not how you coach. You don't coach on hypotheticals. You put your best players on the ice and see what happens. If they make a mistake, they make a mistake. Like, I don't know, Crosby wasn't very good on Tuesday, but he had plenty of ice time tonight.
All I'm saying is that I wanted to go into this postgame being like, Torts, you idiot. How can you bench him? That's so stupid. Be risky. Let him go out there. And then in overtime, Michkov goes out there and makes the exact mistake that he was probably concerned he was going to make. That's my point.
Yeah, I just play him more at 5-on-5, and game probably ends in regulation with 2 points. Because all he does is score.
Well, it's not all he does.
Yeah, he gets assists too.
He's not perfect. We have to stop acting like he's perfect.
I'm not acting like he's perfect. I'm acting like he's one of the, if not the best players on the team.
I don't think he's the best player on the team.
It's getting very close with Travis Konecny.
Okay.
Travis hasn't done much and have to.
And Michkov didn't do much for a month.
That's why you should play the players who are going.
Okay.
Yeah, let's give Travis Konecny all this ice time, who has 2 goals and one of them's an empty netter in the last 30 games. I don't know. Yeah, let's get him going. Or play the guy who is already going. All right, if you want to get going, you got to get with Rothman Orthopedics. Are your joints aching? Do you have cramping hands? Is your back out of whack? Well, then Rothman's got you, because at Rothman Orthopedics, they're practicing specialized care, and it's been their passion for over 50 years. Their mission, it's high-quality, compassionate, and affordable care rooted in research. Research leading to new treatments and better outcomes. Each Rothman doc is laser-focused on their specialty. It's hip, knee, spine, you name it. They have a team for each body part right in your backyard, so you can get back to your specialty, because they're Rothman Orthopedics, and they specialize in orthopedics and you. Visit rothmanortho.com/PHLY to learn more and make an appointment today. While we're here, let me tell you about Lucy Nicotine. I wish I had some Lucy right now. It's a little warm in here, but you know what? It's cold outside again. The wind is whipping. I don't want to go out there. I'd rather just pop in a Lucy breaker or pouch. Lucy breakers and pouches are always 100% pure nicotine and always tobacco free. Lucy breakers are nicotine pouches with an extra surprise. Each pouch holds a capsule that can be broken open to release extra flavor and hydration. So set yourself up with a subscription and have Lucy delivered to your door today. Let's level up your nicotine routine with Lucy. Go to lucy.co/PHLY and use promo code PHLY to get 20% off your first order. Lucy has a 30-day refund policy if you change your mind. Again, that's lucy.co/PHLY and use code PHLY to get 20% off. And here comes that fine print. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every order is age verified. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
So one thing I do want to point out, because I've seen a lot of people both on Twitter and in the comment section mentioning this, saying that the overtime play is just as much on TK because he doesn't back check.
He's behind the net.
That's not the way that the 3-on-3 play works. So the way that play goes, you've got Drysdale covering the guy who comes off the bench. You have Mickhkov essentially on Malkin because he's further up in the neutral zone. You have Konecny staying over top of the guy behind the play. There's a third Penguin, because it's a 2-on-1. There's 3 guys on the ice. There's a third Penguin who's behind the play. Konecny's job on that play, the reason why he isn't racing back, to try to break up the 2-on-1, whereas Mickhkov is because Konecny's role there, his assignment, is to basically make sure that guy behind him doesn't become a trailer.
Right. Exactly.
So while in real time it doesn't look like Konecny's putting in a lot of effort, that's not him dogging it. That's actually what he's supposed to be doing on the play.
That's totally what he should be doing. He needs to make sure that doesn't become a 3-on-1, basically, or that guy isn't late to the zone and suddenly everyone's over on one side of the ice. That makes sense. What do you think that Jamie Drysdale dive? Is it just kind of like, what the hell am I supposed to do? It's Evgeni Malkin. I'm going to do what I can.
It could have been better. But with Drysdale, he's where he should be. He tried to make a defensive play, and he messed up. It wasn't him blowing an assignment. That was an attempt to break up the play just failed.
He tries to make a play. It doesn't work. I just thought it was and this guy of
Yeah.
This dude is now alone in front against Sam Ersson, who maybe didn't have his best night, but
yeah, he had that really good series of saves in the first period where he has the monster stop on Hayes right along the post in the first period. Then he makes a big stop on Crosby. And you're thinking, man, this is going to be a good Sam Ersson game. He's going to keep it rolling. Then he gave up some weak goals. And look, yes, that's Evgeni Malkin. It's still short side.
yeah, I want to talk about some Ers. Like, there's the Brink turnover leads to the first Malkin, or leads to Malkin finding Tomasino alone in front. And you're like, after those huge saves, you're like, all right, man, well, can't stop them all. It's Tomasino 2 games in a row, kind of on a mini breakaway. That's the way it goes.
Playing well.
Yeah, he's been hot.
Yeah.
And the turnover, like, all right, I'm not blaming him for this one. Sam's been good. Then the couple of Karlsson goals. Face-off loss. Karlsson just kind of rips it from the right point. Maybe it got deflected. I don't know. And then the Karlsson snapper from the right circle. Maybe there was a little screen, but like the Malkin on the rush from the left circle. It seemed like some clean shots were beating him tonight, and that has not been the case over the last few. I'm not going to like kill him for,
I'm not going to kill him
for the overtime goal.
But it wasn't a good game by Ersson.
This was not the Ersson we've seen since, Christmas or whatever, going back to when they came back from the trip or whatever. This isn't the guy we've seen for the last couple of months.
Yeah, we were looking at it, 800 save percentage.
That's rough.
She stopped 80% of shots. 1 out of every 5 was going in. The Flyers, for as flawed of a game as they played, especially in the second half of the game,
Yes.
they dramatically outshot the Penguins. They won the scoring chance battle.
37-25.
Yeah, they won the expected goals battle. If Sam Ersson has not even a great game, but a decent game, this game doesn't go to overtime.
No.
He struggled. He did not have a strong game. And in the end, nothing is going to have more of an impact on the outcome of one game than goaltending. We've seen what happens when Sam Ersson plays really well. This is what happens when Sam Ersson doesn't.
And that's I gotta give a little bit of credit to Blomqvist as well, because he comes in, faces 22 shots, only gives up that the scrum goal that Mickhkov scored. Like, pretty good, pretty nice game for him.
It was credit to Mike Sullivan.
Yeah,
I mean, and he obviously got an earful from his goalie. Nedeljkovic was ticked, but in retrospect, yeah, he had the finger on the pulse of his team. That was the right move.
And they were saying on Tuesday, like, really the only reason Ned didn't get pulled in that game is because he had gotten pulled the game prior to that. And then he's back in there tonight. He gives up 3 goals on 15 shots, and they weren't the best goals. Also, the first half of this game, that Penguins defense looked exactly like the Penguins defense from Tuesday.
They looked terrible.
Like, it wasn't like the goalie is bad and the defense is bad. Yeah, you gave up some goals, but they tightened up, and Blomqvist came in relief and did really well. Like, made 21 saves in under 34 minutes. Like, that's a pretty good relief appearance.
Yeah,
got to give it to him. But I'm still, I just play Mickhkov more. Just get the guy who scores on the ice.
And the thing is, they have been playing him more now.
They have.
Now, they're never, with the way they distribute ice time, I don't think they're ever going to be giving him as much as people want. Like, because really what a lot of this, I think, stems from is people are frustrated that Celebrini is getting so many more minutes than Michkov. They're looking at the calder race, and they're like, one guy's getting 20 minutes, one guy's getting 15. This is ridiculous. Torts is costing Michkov the calder. And I do think that is a driving force behind a lot of this frustration. Generally speaking, Tortorella distributes the ice time. TK gets more because he's an all situations guy. He plays the penalty kill as well. So he's going to get more because he plays in every situation, whereas Michkov doesn't play the penalty kill. So he's never going to get that much. But last 2 games, I think gives like 17 minutes, 18 minutes. This was a game where they pull back on the ice time. I suspect in no small part because of how much they were probably trying to hard match Cates to Crosby.
Definitely.
I suspect that was part of it. But you still have to find some shifts here and there. Maybe put him out there for an extra shift with his not regular line mates to just get him some more time, especially when he's flying as well as he's flying. The mistake he made in the third period that got that line pulled off the ice for 5 minutes, that's a mistake. That's a real screw up. And I get why in a 4-4 game you're trying to get to overtime, maybe a pullback on his minutes there. But the first 55 minutes, he should have been getting more.
That's my issue more than anything. There was 55 minutes before that in which he was awesome.
Yeah.
He's scoring.
Yeah.
He again, before the halfway point of the game, he has 3 points.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's where I want to get him more ice time.
I don't know, maybe get him a few.
When he's really rolling, when he's got 3 points and he's still, 3 points through 30 and he's still 8th on the forwards in ice time, like, I don't know, get him out there a little bit. And maybe this is partially on Rocky Thompson too. I hate to
spread it around.
Like go to the pinata because everyone's ripping on Rocky Thompson all the time, but he is a big part of running the forward lines. He is the guy who coaches the forward. So maybe that's just as much on him to make those in-game tweaks that the head coach trusts the assistant coach to make to get the guy who's firing on all cylinders out there as much as possible.
And like that's the other it's not just Mish, because that line also has Owen Tippett on it, who has been on fire. He plays, I think, a second more than Coots. And those three are the bottom 3 outside of the fourth line, which, didn't play really at all.
Like, no, all you have to do is look at the time on ice, and you can tell the stratification. You have Konecny #1, okay, but again, he plays in all situations. Yeah. Then you've got Cates, Foerster, Brink. That was your top line in this game. Then you have Lawton, Kuzmenko. That's your second line in this game. Your third line was Tippett, who was 7th, Couturier, who was 8th, Michkov, who was 9th. Part of that was the fact they missed a couple shifts at the end of the third because they all get pulled off the ice for the final 5 minutes. But they were third in the time on ice charts long before that mistake by Michkov.
Yes, they were.
And that's the unacceptable part for me, because why is he not getting more when he's rolling?
And that's again, it's not just Mish, it's the Mish line. I do think he's a big part of it. Obviously, he's been putting up points like crazy since the break. But you see Owen Tippett, 2 goals versus the Oilers on Saturday, a goal on Tuesday against the Pens, a goal tonight. This is his best stretch of the season. This is the Owen Tippett we've been saying all year. Yeah, he did have one 5-goal in 5 game, very end of November, first week of December stretch. But all year we've been we just need that 1-2 week stretch of Owen Tippett where he just looks like one of the best players on the team and is putting pucks in the net, and he'll hit his numbers. We'll all feel happier about him. He's in that stretch right now. He's got 4 goals in 3 games. This is what we have been waiting for from Owen Tippett, and he plays through regulation 14:03. That's not enough. That's how you lose a game. And again, losing is fine. Lose it in regulation then. Play them not at all. Scratch them. Put Samu Tuomalo out there. But I'm just very frustrated with the way this game ended, and I think it could have been handled better in the first 55 minutes. Tie game, third period, maybe you get benched for a mistake. That happens. And he got back out there in overtime. I suppose I can live with it. But it's those first 55 minutes in which he played 14.
Yeah.
That's under 14. That's not enough.
Yeah.
That's silly.
Yeah, I agree.
That's just absolutely ridiculous to me. I do want to talk a little about the hit on Hathaway. That was a pretty big deal tonight.
It was.
Hathaway leaves the game. He played under 6 minutes. He takes that hit. He lays a hit, and then immediately, I have no idea how to pronounce this guy's name. Imamam, is that what it is?
Sure, let's go.
I'm not even going to attempt his first name. I went to Elite Prospects. No pronunciation available. That's crazy. But Imama kind of just retaliates. But it's not... the result is very unfortunate. It looked very scary. He was out, or he punctured a lung the way he hit the ice. I have no idea. But it looked really bad when he hit the ice and then was down for quite a while. I do kind of agree with the call, though. 2 minutes for interference. They called it a major. They review it, and... it's not a particularly violent hit. There's not head contact. It is blindside. It's absolutely interference. It's a dirty play. I think we can call it that. Yeah. But I don't think it rises outside of the result. And yes, the league does they do govern on result a lot.
They look at a result.
So maybe there's supplemental something coming, like a fine. But I had trouble getting nuts about this one. I kind of thought they got it right.
I don't know if they got it right because it was such a I even hesitate to call it a late hit because he never had the puck.
Yeah.
This was purely this guy doesn't have the puck and I am blindside hitting it. Was it to the head? No, it wasn't. And there are very many alternate universes where he doesn't fall in a weird way and he gets up and everything's fine. He probably gets up and starts a fight with the guy because he's Garnet Hathaway and that's what he does. Instead, he hits the ice at a weird angle. I think he bangs his head on the ice as well. It looked like he did from the replay, and it's a really, really bad outcome. But by the same token, if you lay a hit, a blindside, clear interference hit like that, and then it results in a bad outcome, that was a glaringly illegal hit. This was not a borderline hit. And
oh, no, it's very dirty. It's illegal.
It was a obviously illegal hit. I don't know if I hate the idea of punishing someone for
the result
when it's that illegal, you know?
It is the blindside, like completely ineligible to be hit nature that like does kind of it's why he wasn't prepared.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess I can see that.
But he has there's no reason for Garnet Hathaway
to believe he's going
to be hit. No reason at all.
I can see that argument. I just like if a hit to the head is like we got one called the other night that was not in a Flyers game. I can't remember what game it was, but they're talking about it on 32 Thoughts. Like there's no like major or misconduct or anything for just, I think it was the Zegras hit, like a hit to the head. Mm-hmm. So you have to call a match. It's either a minor or a match. There's nothing else in the rule book.
Right.
And I look at this and I'm like, can I throw a guy out for that? He didn't hit him in the head, and that's like the real, like that's when you get into dangerous territory. But it's, I didn't have a problem with the way it was legislated.
I understand where you're coming from because the only reason why it looks so bad is the outcome, and there are worlds where he doesn't fall quite at that angle and he's fine, and it's just a, you know, if there is no injury there, everyone agrees that is a 2-minute interference penalty. I think that is a fair way to look at it. All I'm saying is that when you make the conscious decision to lay a hit that is that obviously illegal, and then an injury results from that obviously illegal of a hit, I have no sympathy for you if you then get punished because of the result, because the result never should have been possible. Like, this isn't a play where like guy passes the puck and it's like a little bit late. He'd already started his hit. You know, that is a bang, bang. It looks worse on a slow down because when you put it in slow motion, it takes away from the fact that it's a real fast game and you have to make split-second decisions. That was I'm mad because my teammate got hit with a clean but hard hit in the neutral zone, and I just want to hurt this guy. And I don't have a problem with him getting further punished because a hit that was intended to hurt the other guy went further than just hurt him. It injured him.
And that's the, like, just in terms of code stuff, like, I know Garnet Hathaway gives as well as he gets and everything. Challenge him. You didn't like the hit, challenge him. Say, let's go. Maybe he obliges. Or you get him clean later in the game.
I didn't love the fact that the Flyers didn't go after him.
That's what I wanted to say.
And I'm not saying I didn't want them to like slash him in the face or you know, break his neck like Todd Bertuzzi, the guy. But I am surprised that no one dropped the gloves with him.
I am surprised by that as well. And like maybe it's in response to that, like because they didn't, so they're like just a little more fired up. Like Tomasino gets called for tripping against Mish in the third. And there's 10 times the response. The whole team jumped in. I can't believe they didn't take the power play away because I think it was Sealer snuck in a jab on someone. Like, there was more of a response on what was like deemed a trip than Garnet Hathaway. Honestly, right now, I'll be surprised if we see him again this year. Like, he's tough as hell. We might see him on Thursday or on Saturday, but that's a bad idea.
He barely looked like he was
with it at all.
Like on this planet as he was getting like helped off the ice. They seem to be hinting on the broadcast that like Hathaway was the reason why they didn't bring out a stretcher because like Hathaway refused to go off on a stretcher.
Yeah, they said that.
It does seem like he has that kind of attitude. He's that kind of guy where he's like, no, I'm going out on my feet. But it looked like he could barely stand.
He had the I hate speculating on injuries because you never know, but like it didn't look good. Some of his posture was bad. It was concerning. Absolutely. I'm worried about Garnet Hathaway.
Yeah, I am too. I think the reason why the fact that they didn't obviously respond to the hit, why it rubs me so the wrong way is because if it was another player, Garnet Hathaway would have done it for them.
That's the dude who would do it.
That's why it rubs it, because like there's no way, regardless whether it's borderline, dirty, clean, whatever, Garnet Hathaway is challenging whoever made that hit to Bobby Brink to a fight on his next shift. And Garnet Hathaway is the guy who takes the hit and no one does it for him. That just rubs me the wrong way.
Maybe it was just kind of surprise. No one saw it. Maybe it was concern for Hathaway, but that was all in like a game of disappointments in the second half of it. That was like a first half of the game major disappointment for me. We hear how important that shit is all the time. Like these guys go out and they protect each other. They play for each other. And they didn't tonight. And that's a bummer, especially against, again, the freaking Penguins.
Yeah.
You should be ready to go with these guys. That's what we do.
Yeah.
I found that disappointing. I want to just put a bow on the Michkov time on ice conversation because I heard this the other day, but I didn't bother to look it up, and I just did. Michkov has 10 or 11 games more than Celebrini. I don't know if this is updated for tonight. It's NHL.com, so probably not. But let's just say it's 10. He still trails him in ice time.
Really?
Like total time on ice this season, Celebrini 927, Michkov 914.
Yeah, I mean, the Sharks are rolling him out there as much as they can. Granted, they don't have much else to do. It's basically the young kids and then a couple vets. They already traded Granlund, so he's gone. They're rolling him out there. They have a different idea of how to develop Celebrini than the Flyers have with Michkov. Like, that's just the reality of the situation.
He's getting about 3 minutes and 40 seconds per game more than Mish is, which, when you think about points per 60, you know, it's pretty impressive what Michkov is doing, quite honestly. Hopefully he gets more, and hopefully all is well with Garnet Hathaway, as I lose my train of thought there. Yeah, let's hit these. The second ad break because I don't really know where to go from there. And let's start with our friends at Shady Rays. It might be cold out, but it's always sunny in Philadelphia, and that's why you always need to have your Shady Rays with you. And our friends at Shady Rays are helping you get in the right frame of mind with spring and summer approaching with polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglass company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their sunglasses have durable frames and crystal-clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all outdoor adventures. I've been telling you for well over a year now, I don't go anywhere without my Shady Rays. When they're not in my car, I immediately look in my wife's car, and there they are. She normally doesn't like polarized sunglasses for whatever reason. These ones don't mess with her eyes the way others do, like when you look at the nav screen or something. She loves the Shady Rays. I love the Shady Rays. We are a Shady Rays family. And right now, PHLY viewers, you can become part of that family. Go to shadyrays.com and save 35% off polarized sunglasses with code PHLY. Over 300,000 people have rated Shady Rays 5 stars. So become the next. Use code PHLY today at shadyrays.com. While we're here, got to tell you about our partner, our presenting partner, Bet365. You know, I even mentioned Michkov 2+ goals, but the official bet, that was Jamie Drysdale to score. We didn't get it, but whatever the play is, I have been placing all my bets this season at Bet365. It's my sports book of choice. I think you should make it yours as well, because whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. And we have breaking news from Bet365. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5, win or lose. I wish I was a new customer. I could be using that. Sign up, use code PHLY365, deposit $10, place a bet for $5, and you get $150 in bonus bets, whether your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in PA. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. I do want to talk about Foerster Cates Brink.
Okay.
Cates gets another, and we spent some time, was it pregame or yesterday? It was yesterday, talking about just Foerster and Brink and like their emergence and how they can maybe earn this line a little bit more time, and they certainly got it tonight.
They did.
Bobby Brink, first and foremost, he picked up his 5th point in the last 4 periods against the Pens with his assist on Cates' goal in the first. That was awesome, but is Noah Cates, is he like, I know we've called him like the next Couturier light, all that stuff, but now he's a Penguin killer. He's kind of living up to it now.
Well, he's doing a really good job against Sidney Crosby, and going through the matchup data. He faced off against Sidney Crosby head-to-head for nearly 12 minutes at 5-on-5. It was 11:49. The Flyers collected 62.95% of the expected goals.
Decent.
With Cates head-to-head versus Crosby. They broke even goals-wise. Cates has 1 goal. The Crosby line has another goal, so it's dead even. Look, if you can trust Noah Cates, who as much as he's established himself this season as a quality piece for this team, if you can put Noah Cates out there for 12 minutes and he can play Sidney Crosby to a draw, you'll take that all day because you will then trust that the rest of your team can outplay the rest of the Penguins. If this is what Noah Cates can be expected to do against Sidney Crosby and against other top-tier players, that's a heck of a piece for the Flyers long term.
It absolutely is. I got into like something today on Twitter, believe it or not,
Shocking.
with someone who's like calling Cates a 2C, and I just like I can't go there because the offense has just never been consistent enough to be like, oh yeah, man, he's a 17-minute a night guy, but like matchup situationally, he's absolutely putting himself in that conversation. And listen, he's on an offensive hot streak right now. Who am I to argue? And the way they're using him tonight, like it was again a winning effort for at least that line. Like they came to play once again. They had other chances that easily could have capitalized on, that could have put this game out of reach for the Pens, but maybe not, because again, it was scripted on Max Talbot night.
Max Talbot night.
But I'm just really impressed that this line is keeping it rolling with the offense, because we saw this earlier in the season, and then they were continuing to play well, but it was like, yeah, the goals just ain't there, and how much can you use a line? Yeah, they're playing well, but not scoring. And now it's back. Like, it wasn't just this one little, they were getting lucky for a few weeks. Like, no, this is maybe something we can count on, especially Foerster and Brink. Like, yeah, Cates is 25, 26. Yeah, but Foerster and Brink so young. Like, there's another level for these guys.
Brink
absolutely.
Just turned 26.
Yeah, just turned 26. I thought so. I think JJ mentioned that at the carnival. But like, there's another level for those two wingers. Like, this is really something, this line.
Yeah, I think if you're thinking about like, because I'm going to zero in on Cates. Like, yeah, Foerster, look, if Tyson Foerster becomes what I hope he can become, I don't want him on Noah Cates' line long term. I don't. Because I don't think Noah Cates is going to have the scoring upside that I hope Tyson Foerster has. As for Bobby Brink, look, Brink is an intriguing player. He made some good plays tonight. He also has the bad turnover really on the goal that gets the Penguins going.
Back in, yeah.
So he's not a finished product either, but sure. I've generally liked what I've seen from Brink. Cates, if I'm going to make a comparison, and this would be like best case scenario for what he can become over the long term.
I have a guess.
Okay.
I don't want to, in my mind, I have it.
Okay.
Who is the player?
Phillip Danault.
Okay.
Phillip Danault, who similar time when he broke out. He broke out around age 25, 26 for the Montreal Canadiens. Similar body type, similar strengths, weaknesses, very smart player. Phillip Danault now has established himself as a guy who yearly you can trust for about 40, 50 points and take all the tough matchups. He's probably, if you're looking at the depth chart of the Los Angeles Kings, he's probably their second or third line center. Maybe their third line center, definitely below Kopitar on the board. He's never going to be the guy they're trusting to score a ton of points, but you can trust him to be over 40 every year and take those tough minutes and win those tough minutes on a nightly basis. I like the idea of Cates establishing himself as a Phillip Danault type long-term for the Flyers. That would be a really valuable guy for them to have.
My guess was going to be Eriksson Ek.
Okay.
But
I don't know if he's as good as Eriksson Ek. Eriksson Ek can actually play first line minutes. He's probably ideally a 2C.
I think of Eriksson Ek from 5 years ago. not the guy who was like the previous 2 seasons 60+ points. I always forget that. Oh yeah, the offense did like kind of come around for him. But that was my guess. But I like the Danault comparison. Just other quick notes: Kuzmenko's high stick non-goal. Couldn't tell, but I think it was probably a high stick.
I think it's one of those where if I had to guess, I would guess it was a high stick. It was very close. What I would have to say is it's probably one of those where whatever the call on the ice at the time was going to be, that was not going to get overturned. I think if they would have called that a goal on the ice, it probably would have stood. The fact they called it a no goal on the ice meant that it wasn't going to get overturned. Because there's just, I really wish that they, and maybe this is just the reality of the NHL not being a league on the level of the NFL in terms of, being able to have everything filmed. And even the NFL doesn't do a perfect job. I just wish there were better angles to see, like better camera angles to see if a stick really is above the crossbar. I don't know how you would do it geometrically. I just wish there was, because that's a play where I wish I could know one way or the other, but you watch it and it's like, well, there's the above angle. How can you tell? There's no frame of reference.
Yeah.
There's the wide angle, but even that's coming from up top. I wish there was a stick level, a crossbar level angle, but there's just not. You just can't tell.
It was very, very like I thought probably a high stick, but it really depended on like where the puck actually made contact, because his stick, it's like he's holding it at an angle. If the puck hits him closer to the hands, it counts where it was, but there's no actual way to tell.
I mean, I guess if the stick is above the crossbar, it doesn't matter where the puck hits the stick, right?
I think it does.
Does it? Okay.
Like,
I assume that if the guy's blade's above, like if his stick is above, even if it hits him near the hands and that part of the stick is below, the stick overall is still above.
I believe it does, and my frame of reference for this is that 2008 playoff series against the Capitals. Mm-hmm. The Capitals somehow got a goal to count where the player comes down with his stick and it hits the crossbar as he's hitting the puck. Like, it's clearly above.
Oh, I do vaguely remember that play, yeah.
They're like, but where the puck actually hit the stick is below. He hit his stick on the top of the crossbar.
Yeah, I do remember that play vaguely.
He two-handed the crossbar, but it somehow counted. It was 20 years ago. Anyway, let's do the tankathon spin, because the Flyers do lose tonight, and we have the is this.
Well, this was pregame, obviously.
I think this is the new one. Brenna, spin it.
Penguins number one.
This wasn't the gimmicked one. I had one earlier where we did a fake one.
This is
the fake one. Oh, okay, it's the Pittsburgh Chicago. Okay.
Oh wait, did you set up a fake one?
That's not the one I thought. That's very funny.
Just to troll me.
I did not realize that that's what we were doing. I didn't.
That's
a great joke, Brennan. I wish I understood what you were telling me.
Amazing.
That is an hilarious joke. All right.
So this is fixed.
Yes.
Okay.
Just like the real lottery.
Should we do a real one?
Yes, we should do a real one. I can't believe I blew that joke. I'm sorry, Bren. All right, Brenna, spin that wheel. All right.
Oh, the New York Islanders.
The Islanders.
Really?
And the Flyers fall to 9th.
To 9.
All right. Well, such is life. We will try again at tomorrow's show, 4 o'clock live here on the YouTube channel. But Charlie, it is now time for the Charlie O'Connor 3 stars of the game, presented by our friends at Rite Aid. That's right. Charlie O'Connor's 3 stars, presented by Rite Aid. Charlie, hit us with star number 3.
Star number 3, I'm going to go with Owen Tippett. Another solid game. Probably should have gotten more ice time, but hey, that speaks to the entirety of that line. Probably should have gotten more ice time. Owen Tippett, just like many of the guys on the team, does look refreshed coming out of the break. He looks quicker. Obviously, he missed time due to injury leading into the break, so maybe he's coming out trying to make up for lost time. But he now has goals in is his last 3 or last 4?
3 straight, 4 goals in his last 3.
4 goals in his last 3.
Because he missed time going into the break.
Correct. So he's scored at least 1 goal in each of the games coming out of the break. I think he deserves 3rd star.
I agree. Liked what I've been seeing out of Owen Tippett quite a bit recently. This is the guy we need, and the fact that he and Mickhkov seem to be developing some chemistry, that's good for now, and that's good for later. Future is bright. Star number 2.
Star number 2, I'm going to go with Noah Cates. Noah Cates, as we talked about earlier on the show, hard matched against Sidney Crosby on the road, wins that matchup, scores another goal, almost identical to the goal he scored 2 nights ago. This one, he got some help with Bobby Brink. Bobby Brink made a nice play, kind of drawing a crowd into the screen to be set for Cates. That was a really good play by Bobby Brink, but Cates, another strong game in a tough matchup, scores a goal, producing offensively, second star of the game.
Now I'm especially mad that I messed up this joke that Brenna set up perfectly because you were trolling me with these 3 stars. Who's star number 1?
It's Michkov, obviously.
Oh, I thought you were going to go Malkin.
No.
The guy who scored the game winner and had 4 points. I thought you were trolling me by not including Michkov.
You know what? I'm confused because when I do my article, I only rank Flyer stars. So that's where my head is at, is just doing it only Flyer stars. So I was purposely not ranking Penguins. Right. If I'm ranking Penguins, Malkin probably would be first star. But Michkov is first star for the Flyers, to be sure.
All right. First star of the game. Got benched. Played 13 minutes. Good for him. Great coaching. All right. I think we have a decent number of super chats. Yeah. So let's hit those super chats as I just try to put blowing that joke behind me. And we get JH with the classic Charlie O'Connor whelp.
I broke out the whelp today when they tied it.
That was a whelp game.
It was a whelp-worthy game.
It was.
Sometimes you gotta go throwback. You gotta play the hits.
Max Talbot breaking out the shush. You break out the whelp.
Break out the whelp.
All right, another one here from JH. He says, "Lottery rigged, Bill. Follow the money.
Follow the money."
Where it runs out in Pittsburgh. That's where they rig it. I will say there's probably less of a chance now that they have like an owner. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like they're not going to move to Kansas City anytime soon.
It doesn't seem like it. Although I don't know, give them 5 years of bad hockey. You never know.
Again, league will never allow that. From Groovy Scooby, I like it. Seriously, can we please just tank already?
They're not going to do it.
They're not going to.
They're not going to. So you might as well just accept that they're not going to.
All right. It's tough because the next matchup is against like a legitimately good team. But as we've said all year, the easiest way to tank, doesn't matter what kind of team you put out there. Bad goaltending.
That's what the Penguins are doing.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the Penguins are clearly doing. You think we see Fedotov Saturday? It's tough because the Jets are so good.
It's an interesting question. I would say no. I think they go back to Ersson. But it's at least in the mix given how Ersson played in this game. And the fact that they're traveling. But I think they're just going to keep riding Ersson.
I just want to look at the schedule. So that's Saturday.
Then they have a couple days break.
Then they have 2 days off. It's definitely not going to be.
Then they welcome Joel Farabee, Morgan Frost back to Philadelphia.
Oh, that's a good one. That's fun.
That's
and then
coming next week.
Then they have that 7-game homestretch. That's wild.
Yep.
It's with 2 days off after. It's going to be Ersson. All right. From Gary B. He says, this loss will stick in my craw. I was 1 leg shy of winning 180, needed Crosby to score. I'll take that loss any day.
That's true. He needed Crosby to score and the Flyers to win.
I had a friend who was at the game. He lives in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
He hit everything, but he had Flyers money line too.
That's
a damn shame.
That's a
blow a 3-0 lead.
That's a killer.
He had like Mickhkov.
It's a bad beat.
He had a Mickhkov point, a Crosby point, and a Brink point. And Flyers to win, and oof, sorry, pal. But yeah, that's why they call it gambling. You know, that's why they call it gambling.
Indeed.
If you're gonna do it at Bet365. From Adam S. If the game is nationally broadcasted, you gotta bet an S-ton against the boys. Unfortunately, Air sucked tonight. I feel like they just don't play enough national games now for that to be like a thing. I haven't really paid attention.
I don't know why this game was national. It ended up being an entertaining game.
It did.
But neither of these two teams are making the playoffs.
It's the classic rivalry, like the Wednesday night rivalry night thing.
Yeah.
It ended up being a lot like those old games where it was like, 9 goals and we'll see what the hell happens. It missed the 150 penalty minutes. But like after Tuesday, do you think ESPN was like, is it too late to switch the schedule back? Because like this game did get moved there relatively recently.
Yeah,
it was not a 7:30 start a week ago or something.
You're right.
I wonder if they're like,
about that.
Oh, we were just kidding. April Fools came early. It's actually because we had like Florida Edmonton tonight, didn't we? Like maybe that could have been it.
I mean,
just thinking
on paper,
thinking out loud.
On paper.
But it ended up being a pretty, like, if you have no rooting interest, this was a wildly entertaining game. Like, you got everything you wanted. The big four went off for Pittsburgh. Mickhkov had 3 points. Like, this is everything ESPN could ask for. Even overtime, a little extra, a little free hockey there. All right, we have another one here from, or is this another one from Timbo? Yeah, this is Timbo. All right, I've hit rock bottom. This team stinks. Sell everything. We need that top pick. I just, like, what do they actually have to sell other than the guys we've talked about? Ristolainen and Lawton, sure, but, like, I don't know, Yegor Zamula gonna really make a difference between wins and losses here? Who else in this?
It might actually make the Flyers more likely to win
Because
if they would trade Zamula, they'd bring Andre up.
Yes.
He's probably better.
He probably is. Like, the guys they're not committed to at this point, or at least short-term committed to.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, if they can trade Kuzmenko, maybe they will, but it seems as if they see more value in having a buddy for Mish. Like, who even is there that they're not, this guy's part of it.
And as I said, if the best offer they get for Kuzmenko is a 5th-round pick, they could get a 5th-round pick by being the intermediary in a third-party trade.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason. You might as well just keep the guy. This is something where, like, this is why I still get frustrated about the tank stuff. And it's not, I had a debate with somebody on social media during the game about the tank stuff. And my thing is, because you're going back to, like, who can they trade? And that's kind of my point. If they were going to tank,
they missed it.
They missed their window. Their time to tank would have been ideally 2022.
Yeah.
That would have been the ideal, but Chuck Fletcher was still the GM and Comcast was still obsessed with the idea of not saying the rebuild word. They weren't going to say it. So they missed their chance then. Then they could have
It's a retool, Charlie.
They could have made the decision to do it in 2023. They didn't. Danny Briere, the new regime came in. I think they would have, if they would have went to Comcast and said, we want to do a full tank rebuild, I think Comcast would have said, sure, you know what, do what you think. They decided they didn't want to do it. Now, look, you can complain every time they lose a game, every time something bad happens that they should have tanked. If you want to, sure. The thing is that at this point, like, half the roster are 25 and under guys. Like, if you want to tank, you have to trade away all those guys because that's the only way you're going to get bad enough to lose enough games to make it a tank.
I'm not interested in an 8-year process. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not.
Like, if you were going to do it, you should have done it in 2022 or 2023. They didn't. Now it's kind of like,
it's too late.
Look, you can talk about tanking, but, like, they missed their chance. Now you just got to root for this plan that they chose to work.
And, like, I like a lot of these pieces. Like, we just spent half the show talking about Mickhkov and the Cates line. Like, there's 4 guys right there. You're committed to Sanheim. No move, no trade, something.
Yeah,
you're committed.
No trade.
You're committed to Tippett. You're committed to TK.
Konecny. You re-sign him.
Yeah, like, who are the guys? Now, that said, if they were to say tomorrow, we're going Alexei Kolosov the rest of the way.
Well, that would be a tank move, to be sure.
I wouldn't complain.
Yeah.
That's doable.
That's a tank move.
But trading everyone, I just think they've missed that part. And before we go any further, just want to say we appreciate those of you watching on TV. Head over to allphly.com for more of the show. All right, this next one, this is the next JH Super Chat. Don't love Dad and Dad fighting again, but love some good puck talk. We have gotten into it.
Yeah.
It's late in the season, man. This is dog days of the season, not just for the players.
Yeah,
February's a tough month. It's tough to say. It's tough to play in. It's tough to talk about.
Forgot you have a February problem.
I don't know how to, like, I've changed the way I say it to match what people have been telling me, and now I don't know what the right way is. I'm sorry.
Amazing. I love it.
March is in 2 days. I just got to get through the next, like, 28 hours or something. All right. This one from Aviator says, what's the difference between Hexy rebuild, Chuck retool, and Briere rebuild? It's the same plan 3 times in a row. No matter the GM, Comcast will never allow them to bottom out. Same crap for a decade.
We just talked about this, but
Chuck was never interested in it. That's not what they were doing.
I think
he kept going out and buying guys.
It's completely unfair to say they're all the same because Chuck Fletcher was not in any way, shape, or form coming anywhere near a rebuild.
No.
He was continuing to try to go out and sell the future for the present, except the present was bad.
Yeah, or aging.
If you want to compare the Hextall rebuild, if you want to call it that, and this, sure, I think there are definite similarities. to be sure. My point has always been, I don't think Hextall's rebuild was destined to fail. I think it was a plan that could have worked that was executed poorly, particularly in terms of drafting.
Take Werenski or Rantanen. Take Makar.
Yeah. Heiskanen.
Different world.
Yeah.
Heiskanen. Yeah. Totally different world. It just didn't work.
There are similarities, though, between the Hexy plan and the Briere plan. There are no similarities between those two plans and the Fletcher plan. Fletcher was buying all the time.
Yes. And also, while TK and Sanheim are very good, they are not Giroux and Voracek.
No, they're not.
It's not close.
No.
Giroux was a franchise changing. I mean,
if those are the two best guys you got from your drafting, you didn't do well.
No. And that's like
Konecny is a second-tier impact guy. Sanheim is a good top 4 defenseman.
Yeah, Claude Giroux was a right outside the heart conversation guy, and Jake Voracek was he's a point-of-game player.
And Sean Couturier won a Selke.
Yeah, and Coots won a Selke in there. The Hextall plan, you were never... The Flyers have drafted 5th and 7th.
Yeah.
And they just drafted 11th, your 12th traded down, whatever it was. But, those teams made the playoffs. This team ain't making the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's not happening. They just blew a 3-goal lead to a team that hasn't scored 4 goals in a month.
Fair point.
All right. This next one here is from CB123. Torts pregame mic'd up. Mistakes don't matter. I did hear that.
Yeah, he did say that. They clearly matter for Michkov. My point is just, if he wants to get all the playing time, he really needs to avoid these mistakes. And particularly in high leverage situations like overtime.
The final 5 minutes are not my problem.
Yeah.
It's the first 55 where he had 3 points. He scored you 2 goals. I don't know. Play him more. Play him more than 13 and a half minutes in the first 55 of the game. When Scott Lawton finishes the game with 18-17, I find that ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree.
But I'm all for coaching him hard because I do think that's going to make him a better player. But coach him hard because he's out there working his ass off, scoring goals for you, and then respond to the mistakes when they happen, not before. Yeah. That's all. All right, this one, another from Timbo. Says, if I had a nickel for every time a Flyers player had to leave the game after a dirty hit and the offending team didn't get penalized for it, I have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird it happened twice.
Well, in fairness, he did get penalized.
He was penalized.
It wasn't like the other one where there was no penalty at all. One on Paling.
The Paling one, they knocked it down to no penalty.
They took the penalty away.
Yeah, they took the penalty away entirely. Yeah. I was thinking in my head they
removed the penalty.
They took it down to a minor, but it was no penalty whatsoever.
This one, they at least were like, nah, it was a penalty, and which it clearly was.
At least that one, he couldn't see it coming, and it's a dirty hit. He gets him in the head. But he's eligible to be hit. Yeah. He's in the low slot taking a shot on net.
Yeah, it's true.
You're eligible to be hit. There's a way to do that cleanly.
That was just head contact.
Yeah, he just did it. It was
in an illegal way.
Did it in an illegal way. Did it in a very dirty way.
Yeah.
This was
an illegal hit on principle.
Completely ineligible to be hit.
No way. There was no way that hit could have been thrown to make it legal.
No
way.
It was
puck
bad.
Wasn't there.
Puck wasn't there. All right, here we are again from Timbo Slice. Says, also, what's up with Bucci glazing the Pens every time they touch the puck? I mean, we always think that about the other team. This is my Joe Buck theory, why we hate Joe Buck.
Because he's fair?
No.
He's fair, and we want them to be unfair.
Joe Buck was what? The number 1 guy in the NFC, which means he called what? The NFC title game. What did we keep blowing in grand fashion? The NFC title game. Of course we were mad at somebody, but Andy Reid ain't talking to me. Joe Buck is, so I hate him.
Right.
I don't know. They got 4 Hall of Famers on the ice. I would make a decent amount of the broadcast about those guys.
I've always noticed with Joe Buck that every single fan base complains about him, which tells me that he just hates everyone equally.
Yeah. I went to the Kelsey show he was on, and he was very funny.
Really?
I gained a respect for him when he did Brockmeyer because he's freaking hilarious.
Okay.
All right. Let's wrap up.
More.
We're 5 minutes over. From our boy Socrates Johnson. What up,
Socrates?
Socrates? Been a while. Just saying what's up to you guys. And what's up, Socrates? Well, what's up is we're done. That is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers Postgame presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Make sure you're following us right here on the YouTube page. Set that reminder bell so you never miss a live show. We'll be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. With our typical studio show. Follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers and follow the podcast as well. Wherever you get those, just search PHLY Flyers. That's it for us. I'm Bill Matz. That's Charlie O'Connor. Don't worry, we're still friends. Let's go Flyers.
We all silly like the mayor.